When it comes to beat the odds sports stories, whether it's on the big screen
Rocky Balboa has shocked the world. He is the new heavyweight champion of the world.
or TV screen,
The Mountaineers have just beaten the Michigan Wolverines! The Mountaineers of Appalachian State have just beaten the Michigan Wolverines in the Big House!
they are about an unlikely hero, someone or some team who overcame either a lack of talent or size, or in Rudy's case, both.
You're 5 feet nothing, 100 and nothing, and you got hardly a speck of athletic ability.
But the odd San Jose State track and field jumper Emilia Sjöstrand beat en route to becoming the best female jumper in program history had nothing to do with talent or size. The odds Emilia beat were first her reluctance to leave Sweden, and then missing the fall semester of her freshman year because she couldn't obtain a U.S. visa.
And it was many times I was like, maybe I just shouldn't go. This is a sign. I should just stay home.
After finally arriving in San Jose, Emilia couldn't get medically cleared to participate.
Like my first 2 weeks here, I think I called my mom, my dad, and my brother every day crying. I was like, I don't think I want to stay here. I want to go home. I can't even practice. I don't know anyone.
Emilia's SJSU career was hanging on by a single thread, and that's before she laced a single spike up.
My first days here, I was like counting down, like, okay, how long do I actually have to be here? And I was like, okay, 5 months. Can I manage to be here 5 months feeling like this? And I was like, I don't know.
And look, you already know she stayed and dominated.
You set a championship record for the women's triple jump with that jump, which puts you at second all time in the Mountain West. What's your reaction to that?
I didn't know that. That's very, very cool.
But what you'll have to wait to find out is how she went from here
I wasn't even sure I was going to make it to the end of the semester before going home.
to here,
Spartan Nation, we got another All-American.
and now there's a chance next summer Emilia can go where no SJSU female jumper has gone before, the Olympics. From the Spear, I am Matt Weiner, and this is The Journey Through SJSU, the story of Emilia Sjöstrand.
It would definitely be a very amazing thing to accomplish.
So before we think about Emilia becoming an Olympian, we need to fly 2 hours north from Paris to her home in Stockholm, Sweden, and wind back the clock 2 years to the spring of 2021, when Emilia's father had to persuade her to become a Division I athlete.
And I was like, okay, I will try. But I didn't even think I would stay here for 4 years. I was like, I'll go and see if I like it for one semester. And then if I don't like it, I can just go home. Kind of that mentality.
So she committed to San Jose State and planned on flying out that summer. But key word here, planned. That's because this was during the height of COVID-19, and it was extremely difficult to obtain a U.S. visa. And after months spent trying, ultimately, Emilia came up short and had to miss SJSU's fall semester.
Obviously, you want to know what's going on with your, first of all, future, but also because I was kind of into that, wanted to study. And I was thinking, oh, if I can't study here now, what should I do back home?
So eventually she was able to obtain a U.S. visa, but by missing the fall semester, she missed the team's off-season boot camp, which is a crucial time for her own development as a jumper.
And it was many times I was like, maybe I just shouldn't go. This is a sign. I should just stay home.
And speaking of signs, when Emilia arrived in January of 2022, she couldn't get medically cleared to participate. This happened right before the start of the season.
I think I called my mom, my dad, and my brother every day crying. I was like, I don't think I want to stay here. I want to go home. I can't even practice. I don't know anyone. And it was very hard because I've never been in a country like this far away from anyone I knew. I didn't know anyone here. Don't have any safety net, no one to talk to.
And speaking of complications, Emilia couldn't get cleared because she wasn't able to schedule a blood test appointment, which checks for sickle cell anemia with SJSU's Health and Wellness Center. So while she was on the roster, she wasn't an official student because she was weeks away from taking her first class. But wait, it gets more complicated. As SJSU track and field head coach Charles Ryan will tell you, the chances Emilia even had sickle cell anemia were slim to none.
You know, the NCAA has their protocols, and you know, the protocols are well intended, and they're all, in this particular case, on this particular issue, they are well intentioned, because sickle cell is a very serious disease that affects specific populations and demographics. There's no Norwegian-based athletes with sickle cell. So it was a line of demarcation that she had to hit, but the fact that it took so long and was drug out so long for an athlete that everybody knew there was no way she was going to have sickle cell anyway was frustrating.
So she had to watch the first meet of the season alone.
And I didn't have any friends in San Jose at the time, so I was just sitting there on my computer looking at everyone's results, and it was just like, I've traveled all this way to be able to be part of the team and to compete, and it's just annoying to have it, like having another bump in the road before getting there.
All right, so by this point, you're probably wondering, okay, so how did she not head back to Sweden? One answer is fellow international jumper Lena Schubert welcoming Emilia with open arms.
I mean, I felt the same when I came there, so I understood like her thoughts and what she's scared about or something. So that's also why I reached out to her, because it's not nice to come there and nobody like knows that you're coming, or nobody helps you and stuff. So it's just nice to have someone there at the beginning.
Lena helped Emilia's angst by doing what most new SJSU students do: shopping at the nearby Target on Coleman Ave and grabbing a bite together at the House of Bagels.
No, I spend 24 hours, 7 times a week, like every single minute of the day with her.
Lena and fellow international jumper Greta Ferraccio were some of the glue that kept Emilia's SJSU tenure intact. Without them, Emilia says she definitely would have gone back to Sweden.
They're just such a security for me to have there, because I feel like I can talk with them about anything, because unfortunately they are the only ones that really understand.
And that glue also includes her jumpers coach, TJ Harris.
I came to visit to a practice when I was still not cleared, so I was just there watching, and he came, and I right away I could tell that he was a very nice person. He was very like making jokes and making sure I felt comfortable, and I felt very comfortable with him.
And 2 years later, their chemistry hasn't changed.
I don't have any other adults to go to in the US. Like, that's the closest like adult to me, so it's very nice to be able to have that relationship with him and be able to speak about anything.
What's interesting is that TJ and Emilia bonded over being away from their families. So when TJ joined Charles' staff in August of 2021, it meant he'd be away from his wife and kids, who stayed back in North Carolina, where he was previously coaching.
In that time frame, in that space, was a lot of the discussions were about that. Like, you're X amount of 1,000 miles from your family, from your home country and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm in a similar situation. Occasionally being in practice and the time zone differences and stuff like that. Like, my wife calls or my son calls or whatever. And, I step aside and they're like, "Hey, coach, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just talking to my son." They're like, "Oh, cool. Tell him hi."
And finally, after missing the first few meets, Emilia got her blood test. And just like with the visa, she was cleared for takeoff. And did she ever?
In the performance of the weekend, honestly, probably goes to Emilia in the women's triple jump.
As just a freshman, Emilia leapt where no SJSU women's jumper leapt before.
The performance of the day by far was Emilia, school record in the women's triple jump.
And even appeared in the 2022 NCAA Outdoor All-American Prelims.
I hardly even remember this competition. I was talking to Coach TJ about it a couple months ago, that I've suppressed that.
The reason why Emilia suppressed it is because she finished last.
I don't handle losing very well, because I hate losing. It's the worst part of the sport.
But considering where Emilia was at the start of the season,
So I was just sitting there on my computer looking at everyone's results.
it's incredible she even made it there in the first place.
So to me, I looked at it as a big learning experience, and I wanted to see how she would rebound from that.
And that bounce back began during the 2023 fall off-season boot camp.
Boot camp is probably one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. So I think I was sore for like a month straight, and it didn't go away. It was so horrible.
Soreness comes and goes, but a moment like this lasts forever.
You set a championship record for the women's triple jump with that jump, which puts you at second all-time in the Mountain West. What's your reaction to that?
I didn't know that. That's very, very cool.
And Emilia just kept soaring. She became the first female indoor All-American in SJSU track and field history.
That's the best triple jump competition the NCAA has ever seen. For Emilia to jump how far she jumped and somehow finish 7th, any other year, that would have been a top 3 performance.
Emilia's triple jump of 13.98 meters was the second highest in Sweden's history.
It was very motivating because I knew, like, okay, this is my level now.
And a few months later, Emilia backed that statement up by becoming the first female outdoor All-American in SJSU track and field history in the long jump.
And it felt just amazing.
So in order for Emilia to qualify for the Paris Olympics, she needs to be ranked amongst the 32 best triple jumpers in the world. And as of right now, World Athletics currently has her ranked 65th overall. But throughout the NCAA season, TJ said that she was one of the 15 best performers in the world.
I can't get ahead of myself and thinking, oh, now I'm going to the Olympics, because I still need to do a lot of work to be able to go, and I need to jump definitely a lot longer than I have, but I also know that I can do that if everything works out.
And a driving force to do that work and get to Paris was Emilia's disappointing finish in the triple jump at the 2023 Outdoor All-American Meet.
So in the long jump, an event that's secondary to her where she wasn't expected, per se to make the finals, she makes the finals in a very tough competition and gets herself first team All-American. Well, in her brain, I would bet money that it's, okay, well, I made All-American in my secondary event. I'm going out here with a chance to win the triple jump.
Let's take a step back. Remember how Emilia referred to boot camp as this?
Probably one of the worst things I've ever done in my life.
That's because Emilia is from Sweden. Training in San Jose's 80 to 90 degree heat was a difficult transition for her.
I know that my body kind of shuts down when it gets too warm.
Well, guess where the 2023 Outdoor All-American Meet was? Austin, Texas. TJ will never forget what he saw during warm-ups the day of the triple jump.
So they do the drill and they walk back, and I was like, grab a quick drink. Well, Emilia disappeared. I was like, where did she go? And then I'm looking around, and there was this little corner in the stadium that had this little amount of shade. And she was in that spot, fanning herself. And she just had this look on her face oh my God, it's hot.
I never sweated that much in my life. It was so bad. I was dying.
Emilia finished outside the top 10 in one of her poorest performances of the season.
Get frustrated because you put a lot of time and a lot of effort into track and into practice and boot camp, and every day you go there and you go to a gym and you do all of this because you want to be good. So when you don't get the good results, you're just feeling a bit like, oh, I'm doing all this practice and I'm putting so much time to it that it's just frustrating. Why can't I get out the result that I want when I'm putting so much time and effort into something?
A frustrating season finale? Sure. But Emilia has shown she can pick herself back up and then take off. What happened that day in Texas might have lit a fire inside Emilia that propels her to Paris.
So now what do you do, right? And the fact of the matter is that she's so young, and I think that it is somewhat of a blessing in disguise, because at the end of the day, excuse my French, she's just going to piss her off. And a pissed off Emilia training is a problem for everybody else.
Well, thanks for tuning in and listening to Emilia's story on the second episode of The Journey Through SJSU. Reported, written, narrated, and produced by me, Matt Weiner. The cover art done by Irene Milanes. Stay tuned for more episodes and keep up with San Jose State Athletics through The Spear on Instagram and Twitter at The Spear SJSU. Plus, The Spear's website, thespearsjsu.com. Take care.